Greetings, YouTube. A week ago, I switched to a new pouch. This one right here. I had been using a Night Ice pouch. In fact, I had been using that particular brand for quite a while. And I finally decided that there were enough issues with it that I wanted to try something different. I also wanted to start carrying a bit driver, which my old pouch would not allow me to do, so I picked this one up. And it's actually turned out to be too large for my needs, so I actually have a second one on order. In fact, by the time this video goes live, I may already have it, and I may have already switched over to it. We'll find out. It's also black. I decided I didn't like this color. But the thing is I bought this like 2 years ago. And then I only switched over to it on September 13th. So 2 years after owning it, I switched over to it. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. No. I thought about it all the time. In fact, this was in my bedroom in a little, like kind of a side table where I tend to put my pants every day. I drop my pants off. I drop my pants off there before I switch over my stuff to my next pair of pants. Or if I'm, in the house, I immediately get off take my outside clothes off and put on comfies. So I drop my pants off there until I go back outside again. But I also have a little drawer where I keep gloves and hats and things. But there's an open section in it. And in that open section was this little pouch. So I've been staring at it every day for 2 years. 2 years. And again, it was only a week ago that I finally switched over to it. Why? Well, you see, the idea of switching all of the contents of my old pouch into this new pouch, as well as the fact that I was going to have to make an insert, this little blue insert in there made of blue plastic that I had to design and then make to keep my tools separate from each other, because that's just a big pouch. I don't want the tools touching each other. So the idea that I had to design it, and then I had to make it, and then I had to switch over to this pouch created an incredible level of stress and anxiety in my head. And it is a situation that I perceived as quite literally, as the title of this video says, insurmountable. It was an impossibility. I could not do it. So why are you asking, did I find myself in that particular state of mind? Funny you should ask about the state of my mind, because it is the state of my mind that caused the problem. The anxiety, the depression, the PTSD I suffer from. But why did I finally get around to doing it? Well, I have serotonin in my brain. I've been using Wellbutrin, I believe is the brand name taken. But I have serotonin in my brain. It's store-bought, but it's still serotonin. I take 75 milligrams twice a day. And it's been doing quite a good job. Though I am contemplating, so I speak to my doctor this month, in fact, probably already after you've seen this video. I've already had my appointment, of going up to 100 milligrams twice a day. I'd like to see what that's like. It's not much of a difference, but it's different. So the serotonin let me make the executive decisions and the executive functions operate. Able to break down what I had to do into components. So instead of this being this big clumpy thing that seemed I couldn't do it, I break it down into parts. All right, you got the supplies. The blue plastic is just from a floppy 3-ring binder. I love the plastic on those things. It's so useful. It's easy to work with. You can make prototype things and stuff. It's great. I love the stuff. You can pick it up at yard sales for like 50 cents a quart or something like that. And then just some packing tape, some reinforced packing tape. Put it together, and this prototype works well. Hell, I may use this particular prototype for years if it doesn't break. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. But if I find a better solution, I may implement that as well. We'll find out. But I have that same problem all the time. This, my window right there, the little shelf you can see, you often see my cats. Well, my cats will hop up and look out the window. That's why the shelf's there. It's for them. Had to get replaced. The city said so. I own an apartment building. This floor is mine and my wife's, and the downstairs is her mother's. Because I own an apartment building, they get to inspect my house. I don't have a choice. So they said that that window and another window in the bedroom had to get replaced. And the one in the bedroom is not a big deal. There was a single bookshelf in the way. It was my wife's bookshelf, so it was not difficult for the decision-making process of doing anything. That was really much just help her move the bookshelf. That was it. But this is my space. This is my environment. I know it's chaotic. You don't need to tell me that. That's part of my problem, and I'm working on it. Okay? The fact that I was able to do this is an indication that hopefully I'll be able to do something about it. But getting that window replaced meant I had to have a guy come in. We ordered the window, and he was going to put it in. It's not a long process. I think it took him like 2 hours, 3, something like that, by himself to do it. He did an excellent job. Name's Bo, does a lot of our handyman stuff around the house. Built my stairs outside with a coworker. Did a great job. Love the guy. But I only had 2 hours when my wife told me, yeah, Bo's going to be here. Now, if it took me 2 years to get to the point where I could do this, and at the time Bo had to do that, I didn't have serotonin in my brain because my body doesn't really make enough of it. And I had to clear out all the things in front of the window because, again, I understand my office is in chaos. I get it. Those 2 boxes you see back there are pretty much the stuff I picked up, put in the boxes, shoved them onto the bench, and then forgot about them because, again, dealing with them is too much of stress and anxiety for me to deal with. But it took me, I don't know, half an hour to move everything out of the way so that Bo would have access. But I only had 2 hours to process that, when I would have preferred a couple of years. Because the level of stress just moving things out of the way so Bo would have access to that window could have killed me. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you'd handed me a pistol in that moment, I would have shot myself. There would have been no hesitation. I would not have sought out, and I did not seek out a means of harming myself. But if you handed me a pistol in that moment, I'd be gone. Because that is how stressful it was for me. Because I can't deal with it. I don't have the tools, or I didn't have the tools. Now that I have serotonin in my brain, and I've come to realize that if I break things down into small enough pieces, and instead of thinking of them as a mountain or a whale, think of them as a bite at a time. Because a bite at a time, you can eat a whale. And a bit at a time, you can switch over to a new pouch. And then understand that this pouch doesn't meet what your needs are. So you can go get another pouch, which is already on its way. So I'll probably have this for 2 weeks, maybe 3. Might be find a use for it. It's a nice pouch. If I don't, I'll pass it on to somebody else. Let them use it. It's, again, nice pouch. Good quality stuff. Just doesn't meet my needs. So that's the difference for me from being lost to mental illness to taking the medication I need to help me frame the narrative of my life in a healthier way and being able to actually process executive functions and get something done. In my shop right now, I'm working on a table. It took me almost a year to get to the point where I was able to set the table up and look at it upside down. So I knew what kinds of fasteners I have to use and figured out. I made a list. I even got it on my phone right now. Right here, it's a list of things I have to go buy next week at the hardware store so I can make the table in my shop. But I've been thinking about making a table for a couple of years now, maybe 3. And I've had the supplies, at least parts of them, since November of 2021. 2020. And just now in September, have I gotten to the point where I was able to figure out what I need, and as far as fasteners, because I actually have all the hardware, all the other non-fastener stuff in my shop already. It's out of the air. Most of it's salvaged, so it's not going to cost me much. But I couldn't get to this point without that serotonin. So don't for a heartbeat ever feel shame about asking somebody to help you. About saying that, my body doesn't produce what I need. How about I go get some store-bought? And don't let anybody shame you because you take it. Anyone in your life gives you crap because you take medication, to help you see the world in a healthier way, to be able to make decisions, get things done, feel better about yourself? Anybody judges you for that? And cut them out like if you're using a goddamn cleaver. Dunk! Bye. You don't need them. You really don't. Associate with people who care about you and are happy when you have the chemicals in your brain you need, are happy you are being able to process things in a manner that makes you feel like you've gotten something accomplished, even if it's only switching to a new pouch. Because at one time, this was climbing Mount Everest. And now I'm up there planting my flag. So take what you need. Treat yourself well. It's not insurmountable. You can do it. I'm living proof.